Hello and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be taking a first look at an upcoming Tier 9 Premium American Heavy Tank, the M103M. Sounds familiar, right? Well, this tank is basically a premium copy of the M103, which is currently the Tier 9 Tech Tree Heavy Tank just before the T110E5. It is basically a premium copy with better statistics. What do I mean by that? Well, this is what I mean by that. So, statistics-wise, we're going to have 2,714 DPM. That's really quite nice for a heavy tank, especially at Tier 9. That's pretty strong. For 360 Alpha, that's pretty nice, giving it a pretty nice reload time, therefore giving it a pretty nice DPM. Aim time, 1.73 seconds. Mwah, that is delicious. 1.73 seconds is lovely. With 0.34 dispersion, giving this tank pretty good gun handling, especially at mid to long range. Speed-wise, okay. Pretty stereotypical of Tier 9 heavies, especially Americans. Not particularly the quickest, 34, 12 in reverse. Definitely going to want to run a turbo on this tank. However, when you do run a turbo on this tank and you put it into the slot, that's 39. That's a little bit better. Definitely a little bit better. So, gun depression, 8 degrees? Yeah, that's alright. Pretty standard for American heavies. However, this tank's pretty interesting when it comes to its armor, in the sense that it is literally just a live carbon copy of the M103, which is pretty interesting, I think. We've had the copies of tanks before, obviously. We've had the Charioteer Nomad last January 2024, which was literally an exact carbon copy of the Charioteer, the Tier 8 British tank destroyer. Yeah. Well, this is just looking very similar. And if the rumours are true, it's likely we're going to see this tank in January 2025 as part of a collaboration in a very similar nature to the Charioteer Nomad, that is related somehow to the special character for the holiday ops of this year. Obviously, we had Vinnie Jones for 2024, and then we had the Snatch collaboration for the Charioteer Nomad. It's likely, whoever it is going to be for this year, we're also going to have somehow a crossover collaboration in January for the M103M. That are the rumours right now. And I wouldn't be shocked because they sound pretty true to me. But armor-wise, this tank is literally identical to the M103. It's got a very strong turret, a pretty weak cupola, which is pretty large, visible from most angles. The gun depression doesn't do a particularly great job of handling it. Has a weak turret ring, which is a definite issue for this tank, because you get shot in it, your turret gets damaged. Just annoying. It's got the traditional kind of funky American lower plate where you'll pull off some funky ricochet angles and weird bouncers if you hit it low and to the left and the right. Its upper hull is pretty strong. It's got kind of I think it's called the duck nose, where it's pretty weak at the front, but still pretty bouncy. Heat kind of butters this tank's lower plate, so that is to bear in mind. Still, the turret remains strong. So yeah, very familiar armor when it comes to the M103. Anyway, back to statistics. 1950 health, that's quite nice. You run a hardening in the slot and you're pulling it up to 2150. You get 210 with all the field mods. That's really quite nice. You've got 390 meters view range, which is pretty good for an American heavy tank. So, let's compare this tank now to what I think are its most close rivals, if that makes sense. So, obviously, the M103. Then the Concept 1B, and then the AE Phase 1. So, DPM-wise, the M103M, interestingly, has more DPM than the M103. So it's not necessarily a complete carbon copy, it's a carbon copy with better statistics. So it's just a better premium M103? That's what you're saying? Yeah, you're correct. So, 200 better DPM than the M103. It's got much better DPM than the Concept 1B and much better DPM than the AE Phase 1. So this tank is going to be pretty, I believe it might be the most high DPM heavy tank. So it's not British, obviously because you got the Conqueror. At Tier 9, pretty strong. Reload, it's the best in class out of these comparisons. Its Alpha, however, interestingly, is the lowest. 360 compared to 400, 400 and 400. So it's firing a lot more, lower alpha, higher DPM. Interestingly, its dispersion is then therefore the best in class, 0.34 compared to 0.35 for the M103, 0.36 for the Concept 1B, and 0.36 for the AE Phase 1. Its aim time is also best in class, 1.73 compared to 2.21, 2.21, and 2.4. Yeah, you can see where we're going here. Mobility, identical to the M103 in every way, 34 forwards, 12 in reverse, and it completely pales in comparison to the Concept 1B's 45 and 18. That tank is fucking quick. And very, very similar to the AE Phase 1's 35 and 12. It has identical HP values to the M103, 1950, which is significantly better than the Concept 1B and the AE Phase 1, both having 1800. View range, identical to the M103 and the AE Phase 1, 100 less than the Concept 1B, which for some reason has 400 meters view range if that tank doesn't need it anymore. Armor, identical as I said. Obviously, it's worth comparing the M103's armor to the AE Phase 1 and the Concept 1B. Basically, the Concept 1B is better in every way in terms of its armor, even though on paper it isn't, just because of its armor model. A prime example of why armor on paper is kind of irrelevant. AE Phase 1 has better turret armor on paper, in reality, doesn't. There you go. Penetration values. Identical penetration standard across the board, just different ammo types. Interestingly, the M103M has APCR as standard, but the M103 has AP as standard, both having 258mm of penetration though. Gold penetration, interestingly again, 320mm heat for the M103M, sorry. However, the M103 has 340mm of heat, that is gorgeous. 320 will still do the job. However, 340 at tier 9 is just that next level up and is really nice. It's going to have better heat penetration than the Concept 1B at 310. However, once again, worse than the AE Phase 1, which also has 340 heat, same as the M103. 8 degrees of gun depression, same as the M103. Obviously, neither are competitive in that nature compared to the Concept 1B and AE Phase 1's 10 degrees. So, the M103 is literally, armor-wise, speed-wise, an exact carbon copy of the M103. However, the M103M has more DPM, significantly, lower alpha, better gun handling, slightly worse penetration. So there you can kind of see how this tank compares to the M103, and I think this tank is going to be pretty good. I already think the M103 is one of the better tier 9 heavy tanks. It kind of has everything going for it. It has DPM, good penetration, its armor is pretty troll. Yes, it has a cupola, which is pretty easy to hit, but if you're a good player, you'll know how to mitigate that. It already has everything going for it, and then the M103M comes along and then has a little bit more going for it. So I think this M103M is going to be a very good tier 9 premium. And especially if we're going to see this thing as part of a collaboration in January, be excited. Be very excited, because I think this tank's looking very good, very strong. It's got everything going for it, as I said. It's got DPM, good gun handling, the mobility is okay, it has decent HP, and okay penetration values. That's everything you need in a heavy tank in 2024, 2025. So, do let me know down in the comments what you're thinking about this tank. Do you agree with me? Are you looking forward to it? Have you heard anything else about when we might see this tank? And yeah. If you did like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you all again very soon.